Hi, everyone. It's me at Sea Lefty Run with my week 16 Mount Charleston training update. So as you know, I'm running, or maybe you don't know, I'm running Revel Canyon, Mount Charleston, Revel Canyon, Mount Charleston. See, the cumulative fatigue is catching up with me. On April 2nd. So week 16 of my training, I'm on an 18-week training program. Some things I've talked about in my previous videos that I wanted to do a follow-up on. Three things. Number one, I've talked about having my left hamstring keeps acting up. It really likes to bark when I do speed workouts, which from my understanding is common. So after throwing spaghetti at a wall for a couple weeks into my training program, by throwing spaghetti at the wall, I was trying different chiropractors, and I was hoping to use my insurance for chiropractic. I had a chiropractor in my previous cycle who really did a great job, but mine didn't take my insurance. So I was paying out of pocket, which is well worth it if it's working for you. So I thought, well, there's got to be someone who takes my insurance who can fix up my hamstring. The answer is no. There is no one that takes my insurance that can fix my hamstring. And what was happening was I would pay my copay. The first one I saw, I was making my copay. I think it was like 25. No, it was ended up costing me $50. I think my copay was like $25. And then on top of that, he was charging me $25. And then he was seeing me for like 20 minutes and just adjusting me. So I was like, this isn't helpful. And it's costing me $50. So then I went to someone else where my copay was just $25. That's all he took. The first session, he spent a long time with me. And then after that, it became like an assistant would see me and she'd kind of just push on my hamstring a bit, say your IT band feels tight, and then he'd come in and adjust me. So again, not what I was looking for. So I went back to the previous amazing chiropractor that I was seeing before that didn't take my insurance. He's $90, but he spends an hour on me and he pushes these parts on my body and it goes right to my hamstrings. And I would never guess. It'll be like my lower back. It's like pushing a button. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel that in my hamstring. He's like, yeah, because it's not coming from your hamstring. Your hamstring is just a symptom of things that are going on in other places. I was like, okay. So I've seen him twice and I already feel like 75% better. Like before, I would walk and I would feel it. And again, it wasn't debilitating. It wasn't stopping me from running, but my fear is that it would get worse, or that the worst case scenario is during the marathon, it would stop me in my tracks. So back to my old chiropractor, $90, happy to pay it. So happy he's taking me, and he's been fixing up my hamstring. So that's the story on my hamstring. And I guess the moral of the story is find someone until you find the right person, just like a therapist or a relationship, right? Sometimes you got to kiss a lot of toads before you find your prince. Anyway, bad analogy, but hydration. I was using liquid IV. I hate it. I hate liquid IV. I felt like it dehydrated me. Didn't feel better on liquid IV. I didn't like the taste. It was too sweet. You know what I really like for hydration, and I just need to stick with it because if it's not broke, don't fix it. Noon. I really love Noon. So I stocked up on my local Sprouts. I don't know if you have a Sprouts where you're at. I have this farmer's market type store. It's kind of like a Trader Joe's meets Whole Foods type place. Trader Joe's meets Whole Foods. There's a place near me called Sprouts. And they have tons of Noon. So I've been buying it from there and I feel a lot better. And it's not so sweet. It's just mild. I'm sure you've had Noon before. And funny enough, they're going to be serving Noon on my race course, along with Honey Stinger Gold gels, which is also what I use for electrolytes during a race. So it's so perfect that this race has both the things I love, because I don't like gels. I don't know anybody who likes them. I don't have a problem stomaching them, even if they're disgusting, but the flavor does matter. And I really love the Honey Stinger Gold because it just tastes like honey. I even like them better than the Huma, however you pronounce it. those kind of give me a bit of a gag reflex, but I like the way they make me feel. So I'll put up with it. So I do honey stinger, caffeinated Huma, honey stinger, caffeinated Huma. That's how I alternate during my runs. But the course is going to carry them, but I'm still going to carry my own just in case of emergency. So that's hydration. I like noon. I'm sticking with noon. One thing I also wanted to talk about was if you're running Mount Charleston, there's a podcast that I listen to on occasion, not all the time, but it's called Running Rogue. And when I was trying to qualify for Boston, I was really into listening to how average runners, particularly mothers, right, around my age range, how they were doing it. And so on Running Rogue, I stumbled upon an episode. It was episode number 120 with this woman named Molly Dystra, I think. And she ran Mount Charleston. I think I talked about this before. She ran Mount Charleston and was on her way to BQ. And at mile 26, just completely hit the pavement, passed out, didn't cross the finish line. So it's interesting to hear her story. So she didn't qualify for Boston, right? Because she didn't pass she ended up in an ambulance actually. But it's interesting to hear that story. And then in episode 255, and then the pandemic hit, right? So there wasn't a lot of running going on. So in episode 255, she talks about how she ran St. George and how she finally qualified for Boston. And what she did differently in St. George that she should have done for Charleston, because they're both at elevation and they both are hill, they have hills. So I suggest listening to both of those because I found them super informative, like in terms of hydration and altitude and all of those things. So if you're curious, it's interesting to see what she learned from Charleston and she applied to St. George. So I took mental notes of those things. Okay, week 16, here we go. Are you ready? Remember, I had that, what I thought was a terrible, no, it wasn't terrible. I finished the 16-mile run. A terrible run is you don't finish, right? I finished the 16-mile run. I just didn't feel like I typically feel, which is pretty good, like I could go farther. So my last 16-mile, I had talked about how I wanted to die at the end. In fact, I don't think I told you this part. I was done with the run and I had probably about a mile to walk home. And I called my husband and I was like, hey, I'm walking home. And he was like, okay, do you want me to come pick you up? And I was like, yeah. That's how tired I was. Like I didn't need the ride, but if someone's going to offer it, I'm going to take it. So I said, yeah, come get me. So he picked me up and took me home. But I looked at my times for that run. I think my average was like an 8:47. And I was comparing it to like my previous 16-mile, which was like an 8:26. But then I looked at that 16-mile in comparison to my last cycle. And it was actually if I had it in the previous cycle, it would have been my strongest run. So it's just interesting how perspective plays a role. I also ran that 60 miles in the A6 Metaspeed Sky, which made me realize I am not going to run my marathon in the A6 Metaspeed Sky. Was it the Metaspeed Sky's fault that I did not have a good run? No. But now I have like weird feelings about it. And I'm like, I don't think you're the one. Don't think you're the one. I've had really strong runs in my New Balance RC Elite 2. That's what it's called, right? New Balance RC Elite 2. Yes. And I'm running in those. So I think I'm going to save the A6 Metaspeed Skies because I spent $250 on them. I'm like, I got to run something in them. I do have, because this is my crazy year, right? This is the year I'm getting crazy. I ran Big Bear in November 2021. So I'm running Mount Charleston, April of 2022. I have the Orange County Half Marathon, May 1st. And then I have Mountains to Beach full on May 29th. And I thought, well, I'm going to see how I feel. Maybe I go down to the half in Mountains to Beach. But part of me is like, just run the full, just make it a finale. Like I'm not going to focus on like PRing or anything. I'm just going to kind of focus on enjoying myself. Maybe I'm going to get crazy and not carry a watch. I don't know. And then I can get some use out of these shoes I spent $250 on. So for that reason alone, I'm like, you got to run the marathon so you get your $250 worth. So that's what's on my calendar. And then hopefully Boston, right, in April of 2023, where I will do very little running between May and then training for that. I don't know, maybe I'll pick up a half here and there. Maybe I'll work on my speed over the summer. Not a great time to work on speed, but I gotta, I'll get bored otherwise if I'm just running casually. Okay, so Sunday I ran 6 miles at 9:44. The day after I thought I was going to die on that 60-mile run. And my heart rate was 134. Monday, I ran another 6 miles at 950 pace, but my heart rate was 130. So my heart was happy. It's a nice little recovery run. Tuesday, can't remember. It was like 73 degrees. I did, again, these runs after work kill me. I hate them, but I figure it makes me mentally stronger, right? That's what I keep telling myself. I did 1.5 miles 4 times. It was a total of 11-mile run. But the workout was 1.5 miles times 4, with a half mile easy in between. So I did my first 1.5 miles at 7:47, next one at 7:55, third one at 8, and final one at 7:56. My heart rate, my average pace for that run was like an 8:40, I think, if memory serves. I didn't write it here. And my average heart rate was a 153. Thursday, I did my 6 at a 9:32 pace, heart rate 133. Friday, I did my final 8 of this cycle on a Friday. I did that, and I was so happy because now I don't have to wake up at 5 anymore on a Friday. I did that in 9:35. My average heart rate was 133. Saturday, I had my last challenging run. And not last challenging run. I mean, they're all challenging, even the easy ones. Sometimes I'm like, all right, let's get the show on the road. My last, pretty difficult run of the cycle. So it was 13 miles, 10 at marathon pace, the 1.5 mile warm up, 1.5 mile cool down. So my average pace for the whole thing was, I think, I don't know, 8:25 or something like that. No, maybe like 8:30. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it was like in the 8s something, mid-8s. Let's say that. I didn't write that down. Sorry. And that's not the important part anyway. The important part is, what did I do my 10 miles? And I did my 10 miles in 8:08. My average heart rate was 152. And, these runs have been going really well for me. This one I was tired. This one I was waiting for it to finish. This one, the last mile, I was like, all right, come on. And thank gosh, the last mile I saw Thumbs Up Guy. Did I tell you about Thumbs Up Guy? No, I haven't told you about Thumbs Up Guy because I haven't seen him in a long time. Thumbs Up Guy is a guy I used to see pre-pandemic running all the time. And anytime I'd run past him, he'd give me a thumbs up. And I forgot about Thumbs Up Guy. And today on Saturday, I was running in the park and I was in my last maybe half mile of this 10-mile, stretch. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think it's Thumbs Up Guy. I think it's Thumbs Up Guy. I'll know when I run past him if he gives me a thumbs up. And sure enough, I ran past him. He went, I gave him thumbs up right back. Thumbs Up Guy was there to push me through my last half mile. So I'm not one of those people that hates the taper, that just needs to run all the time. No, I love the taper. The taper is to running what Shavasana is to yoga. Yeah, I'll stay in Shavasana all day long. So I'm excited to taper and just kind of take it easy, get some sleep. What do I have? Tomorrow I have 6-mile repeats, which I'm probably going to end up doing on the treadmill because it's supposed to be 85 degrees tomorrow when I get off of work. So I'm doing that on the treadmill. It's the longer ones that are hard to do on the treadmill for me because it's so mentally mind numbing. But if it's hot, I'm going to just do it on the treadmill. The hay is in the barn, so to speak, right? I'm not going to gain any fitness. It's just to kind of keep things where they're at. And then I have my final 12 miles on Sunday, which I am going to change up the scenery a bit. I'm going to go do it in Huntington Beach, where I used to do all of my long runs before I had kids. But now it's like so inconvenient to drive anywhere to do a long run. I just like to do it around. I'm so lucky I can do it around my house. But I am going to have my grand finale in Huntington Beach, 12 miles. And yeah, and then I get ready for race. Fingers crossed I don't get sick. I'm really worried about that. You know, we're mask free now in California, Los Angeles County, and schools. And part of me is like, I've been so happy to not wear a mask, especially when you're a kindergarten teacher, and so much of letter sounds and how you form words and reading people's body language, you can't see it when you have a mask on. Like kids can't tell if they're bothering another kid because they can't see that the kid looks pissed off, right? So, and when I say versus they can't see my face. So I was thrilled to not have to wear a mask. It's optional now, of course. I'm thinking maybe I need to put that thing back on for the next 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, happy running. Hope your training is going well. And I look forward to chatting with you the week before my race, which I think I'm just going to give you an update on what I'm going to do that week, what I'm going to drink, what I'm going to eat, and what I'm going to do the day before the race, what I'm going to eat, what my hydration is going to be like, all that fun stuff. What am I going to wear? I don't know. I've been running in shorts. That's 20 degrees. And then I looked at videos and all the ladies were running in shorts. So I was like, I think I should run in shorts, maybe compression socks. I don't know. Still thinking about it. Okay. But anyway, hope all is well. Looking forward to seeing you next week with a positive update. Bye.